And all right, welcome to the latest episode of the Colman Power Organic Fitness Podcast. I have my latest guest here in front of me, or through via the likes of technology, Skype, what would you do without it, or Zoom. We have Corinne Smith, who is a certified life coach. Corinne, so say hello to the listeners.
Hello, everybody. Thanks very much, Colman, for having me on. So my name is Corinne Smith. I'm a certified life coach and meditation teacher, and I am running my business called Soul Purpose on Instagram, and now just gone live with my website. So yeah, very happy to be here today.
Brilliant. Okay, and straight away off the bat, I suppose me being a male and into, I suppose, health and everything, I want you to expand on this question that often gets asked. Okay, can meditation really improve your health, and how?
110%. I didn't get into meditation until I began my life coaching qualification. So I had never really tried it. I heard about it, but I never really kind of got into it myself personally. And then when I began my own journey with coaching, and when I trained up as a meditation teacher, obviously I delved in a little bit more. So I got in more into the, I suppose, not even the science behind it, but just more the benefits, really, you know, how it improves your sleep, your clarity, mental clarity. Just gives you more creativity. It calms the nervous system. There is 101 benefits now. I'm probably not even doing it justice here by what I'm calling out. But through my own trial, I suppose, when I was coaching of doing my own meditation journey, I discovered like how much myself that I gained from it, from giving myself even 5-10 minutes of going into a state where I had that kind of like no distractions, taking away the phone or what it meant, maybe like dimming lights, and getting into a space where I felt very safe, and that I could really kind of just slow down the pace. Because a lot of people would say to me, oh, Corinne Jeannie Mac, is it a case that, you know, you have to shut your mind off and that you have to be, you know, no thoughts? But I'm like, you can't stop thoughts coming in, because they're going to be 24/7, you know. But it's a case of saying, okay, I see that thought. You know, I'm just going to say what I like to do in guided meditations. I like to say to people, okay, look at your thoughts like red balloons, you know. When they come in, say, okay, I'm going to release this red balloon into the sky. It's going to be driven away by the wind, you know. It's like thoughts will come and go and they'll pass, but it's just, you know, acknowledging them and bringing yourself back to either the breath or the person who's guiding you in the meditation, and just refocusing that energy back in again, you know.
I would be quite a positive man, and there are things that I do, I suppose, that I'm going to mention to you, and you can, I suppose, further expand on them. I always get people to, supposed to be grateful where they currently are, because I suppose at this moment in time, there's a huge amount of negativity, telling people you can't do this, you can't do that. But being grateful for what you have is something that I currently do for myself, and I pass on to people that I mentor and coach on the Organic Fitness Program. And there are, I suppose, going to be times that thoughts such as negative ones come into, I suppose, your head. What are your practices, or what do you recommend to people that have a high percentage of their thoughts or information that they consume that is negative on a daily basis, whether it either be from social media or from either work colleagues or family members? What would your preference or recommendations be?
Well, like what I like to do is, I do with a lot of my clients is journaling. So self-inquiry, you know, and getting curious as to when they're showing up, what they are, you know, maybe doing like a thing called like a brain dump, you know, removing them from the mind onto pen and paper. And sometimes, a lot of the times when we take them from our head onto pen and paper, they don't feel as catastrophe as they do in the mind. And you could nearly look in as an observer and be able to kind of look for maybe a solution. Or a lot of the time is asking yourself, is there truth to this? You know, I remember listening to an audio book, her name now, Byron Katie, loving what is, you know, and saying to yourself, okay, is there truth to this? You know, sometimes we might, you know, be beating ourselves up or belittling ourselves and be coming down hard on ourselves, you know, and just being able to say, take an observer's kind of position and kind of look back and look, or take a step back and look in, or else challenging the negative thoughts and saying to yourself, you know, am I jumping to conclusions rather than looking for alternatives? You know, sometimes, you know, we can really kind of just get caught up in it all, but we have to be very kind and very compassionate with ourselves, you know, give ourselves a bit of grace as well, because I think when we allow ourselves a little bit more compassion, we can kind of come at it in a better angle, you know. We're not coming at it kind of like guns blaring.
Yeah, I suppose I would have the preference that thoughts will become things, and to suppose be as positive as you can with yourself, telling yourself affirmations or something that I would do on a regular basis. And do you do that with your clients, or is that something that you stick to with journaling, or what way do you work it?
Yeah, affirmations are a huge part of my coaching. So they are. I'm only after releasing an affirmation deck recently. I created one. I love them. Yeah, I love the affirmations because my training was part of my training was Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. So, a lot of her teachings was around affirmations. She called them treatments, and like through that, like there's like, the what like that, like the power of what we say to ourselves, the words that we speak to ourselves, exactly, what positive words we use that are reinforcing, and breaking those patterns of maybe old disempowering dialogue that's running. So like your affirmations could be as simple as, especially in these times, saying, I am safe, it is safe to be me. I am calm, I am centered, I am grounded, getting out like that into the back garden first thing in the morning with your bare feet, even though it's cold and it can be sometimes wet.
No way. Are you doing grounding as
Yeah.
well? I literally have no topic here about grounding for questions to ask you. Do you do grounding as well?
Yeah.
I
All
love
about that. Or anything that connects you like that, like yourself to nature, getting out in fresh air, getting your feet on the ground, feeling that connection, and like bringing yourself back into the here and now, the present moment, like what we spoke about with the meditation, earlier, even focusing on the breath coming in and out of your body and just literally just being present. All is well in the present moment.
Oh, this is great. This could be turned out to a better podcast than I even could have dreamed. Grounding is literally something that I suppose people haven't done for years. Since the invention of the shoe, we've covered up our feet and we don't connect with what the most important thing in the world is the earth. And we call it earthing, we call it grounding. You can do it on grass, you can do it on sand. I've done it on
Yeah.
boat today because I actually been for a sea swim, which is another thing I do, I suppose, for self-discipline and as well as, I suppose, mental clarity, because puts you in perspective. Do you know what I mean? Nature is there to put manners on man, woman, and child that'll enter the sea in the December months, that's for sure. And it was frosty this morning, and it is uncomfortable. And with health and I suppose your fitness, and there's, I suppose, are 4 areas of health that I focus in on in particular. It's your health, your wealth, your love, and your fulfillment. And really, I suppose, challenging yourself to, I suppose, do the things that are difficult. It sure as hell on a frosty morning is not easy and it's uncomfortable to put your feet in your hands or any part of your skin on the ground. But as a result of that, you have put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. And when you come out with that, you can go, well, the rest of the day can't be as bad as that. And that's kind of the realization of going from the bad to the good, because it can't always be good. And that's kind of where I come from that point of view. But the science behind it, and there's negative free radicals that I suppose are neutralized when you get energy from the likes of the soil, the grass, wherever you do your bit of grounding.
100%. I love that. Like, because even I did a bit of no, I haven't gone in for the sea swims because my swimming wouldn't be very strong. I think I'd be afraid of my life. But I have gone into the water, all right. No, not in the winter actually, but I was doing the Wim Hof, the cold showers.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Like that, like, the benefits. Yeah. Like they were speaking about that, like, like it's like a hardening. That's what they call it? Like, like your mental kind of, yeah. And like, yeah, like it, as you said, it put manners on you. It's good though. It's good.
Brilliant. And this is about, there's so many different things, I suppose, that can benefit you. And it starts from the ground up, literally. Do you know what I mean? And that, I suppose, bring me back even closer to, so I suppose with men and even women, like, how do you do the likes of meditation, or where do you start? Do you have to be sitting down, and who do you recommend it to age wise? And I suppose if you'd further expand on those points.
Yeah, well, I recommend meditation from even being a child. I think starting off with your children, even, allowing them to even tell them, how they can feel the breath coming in and out of their body. I always say start off slowly. Men, women of all ages. I think everyone should experience meditation at some stage in their life, and there's wonderful apps there. There's Insight Timer, there's Headspace, there's a load of different ones. I actually do a weekly guided meditation I come on and do like a morning one and an evening one, once a week. So I do, and I've about over 30, I'd say, on my IGTV. I do guided practices because I love like bringing someone to like a visualization of like that, being on the beach, or like, feeling your feet on the sand, feeling the warmth of the sun, or anything. I just go through nighttime ones and everything, bedtime ones. But I think it's lovely because a lot of the people that I've coached, a lot of people I've spoken to have said the guided practices are great because you're focusing on where the person is bringing you with the visualization, the imagery, And for some people, they mightn't like the guided practice. So even some soft music, meditation music, But I always think start gently, start with even a few minutes, you know, even if it's just the breath and just focusing in on that, you know, and then maybe go into a 5-minute practice, but allocating a time that like you won't be disrupted, you know, like a time that you can have that time for yourself. Like if you have kids, maybe it's first thing in the morning before they wake. I know we don't like to kind of get up too early, you know, we like our little bit of a lion, but just even getting up those few minutes and having this dedicated to you, you know, man or woman, you know, just taking that time for you before you run out the door to either work or whatever your life, you know, going into reality. And it's a sacred space where you're saying to yourself, I deserve to pause here and give myself this time, you know.
That's brilliant. And do you have to, suppose, be cross-legged, kneeling down? Is that, I suppose, your main practice? What are your, I suppose, your positions that you do recommend?
Like you'd see like in the pictures, like the lotus position, the cross leg, yeah, the Buddha. But I'm like, I'd be like, whatever feels comfortable to you, you know? Like some people like to sit on a chair. And I often say, if you're just sitting on a chair, as long as your back is supported and even feeling your feet on the ground in itself is grounding as well, you know, feeling your back supported by the chair, lying on a yoga mat, lying on your bed. I always say if you're lying on your bed, maybe kind of prop the pillows a little so that you don't kind of nod off if you're planning on going to work. That you don't be like, oh, okay, so I just missed the first morning of my work. But, propping it, or even like setting a little timer maybe to go off after again, you know what I mean, just to kind of wake you up just in case. But oh no, yeah, you don't have to be in the lotus position or anything. I think find what's comfortable for you. I always say find your groove, you know, because everyone is different and it's unique to everyone. There's no set rules, you know.
Right, on that point, I suppose a lot of people will say, oh, I don't have time for it. So what do you recommend to that? And other questions that I often asked, I suppose, when I was planning this podcast is, you have to have a certain religious belief to do meditation?
I don't believe you do. I don't think you have to have a religious belief. I think, like, for me, meditation is a safe space for myself to connect within, to come home to myself, to actually, you know, if there's something that's on my mind that I'm looking for an answer to, I might even ask the question before I go into my meditation, you know, or get clarity around an area, or literally just to slow down the pace and connect, you know, and bring some calm into my day. But oh yeah, allocating time. Sorry, I was starting thinking of the other question. So I would always say, even journaling around it, you know what I mean? What's the block that's telling you don't deserve to take that time? You know, it could be a limiting belief there that's holding you back from allocating out that few minutes to yourself. Apologies, that was my puppy there. He tends to go off on one. You know, saying to yourself, okay, why don't I deserve to take that 5-10 minutes to myself? There's 24 hours in the day. You know, can I allocate it in the morning or before I go to bed at night? So it's finding, you know, deserving that time for you.
Yeah, no, and that's a great way of pointing it. Is there a certain amount of time that you have to allocate for it? Is there a minimum of 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes? Is the more you do, the more benefits? Or is there a certain amount of time? If you go over the 30 minutes, you go over the 40 minutes, you, I suppose, in a too relaxed state, and you never get any work done after that. Do you ever come into those complications with that?
Well, like that now, when you're beginning, I often say, like, you know, test the waters, see what's working best for you. You know, I like to say when a client is beginning with me and that's her first time meditating, I'd say, like, few minutes, maybe 3 to 5 minutes. You know, it could be a guided practice, a bit of music, setting the timer on your phone, or like that. If it's a guided practice, the time will go off when the meditation is over, you know. So it's all about trialing what works best for you, you know.
I suppose your clients that you do train, is there, I suppose, phases that you go through at the start, in the middle, and towards the end of their, we'll call it, their program with yourself?
Is sorry. Oh yeah. So like when someone begins with me, like we begin, like there'll be like a pre-coaching questionnaire just to get to know the person, for them to give me an idea of, you know, what they're looking to, you know, get into, and the whole lot, any goals that they've set and stuff like that. But a lot of the time, like, we work on, you know, limiting beliefs, like what we believe we deserve as well. You know, that come from childhood and then kind of brings into adulthood and kind of acts as blocks in our way, you know, moving forward on different areas like that, even being more compassionate and more loving with ourselves, to give ourselves time with things like meditation or exercise or, you know, journaling, whatever it may be. So yeah, and we'd work through different things like meditation, loads of different tools now that I bring in, breath work, journaling, I do a bit of NLP as well, neuro-linguistic programming. So a lot of visualization and stuff. I love that, creating imagery there to build the confident self, to build, that connection to self as well.
So good. I suppose with the likes of people mentioning the fact that their past can affect, I suppose, their choices on whether they are, we'll give the example, in a relationship or towards certain jobs or self-limiting beliefs, or self-sabotage is one of the main things that a lot of people come into, I suppose, issues with. And how do you recommend, I suppose, meditation go for them, or are there certain practices that you will lean towards with people who are, we call it self-sabotaging themselves, telling themselves they're not good enough, telling themselves they're too old, they're too fat, they're too heavy, they're too whatever?
Like that, like what you mentioned there, the self-sabotage, and a lot of it goes back again to like that limiting beliefs, and it is past that, what we beliefs that we were shaped, our beliefs that were shaped from childhood, what was what we saw, what we experienced, and that's a lot of that. We go into depth with that, like of addressing it, how to acknowledge it, how to reframe it, and how to move forward going with your life. But what I would do then is maybe bring in like a tailored meditation around loving kindness, whatever it may be, a deservance, I am deserving, like that, bringing in your affirmations, your mantras into it, that yourself, like what I always said, subconscious is a filing cabinet. So what we're saying to ourselves, it's taken as truth. And like all over the years, if we're saying, I'm not good enough, I'm whatever, anything that's disempowering you, and it's filing it away as truth. But when we begin to break that pattern and we start bringing in like something more empowering, I am safe, I am strong, I am capable of handling whatever lies ahead of me, you're bringing in a new dialogue, a new belief system, a new pattern that's going to support you and going forward.
How, I suppose, have you found your uptake of meditation bringing you from where you previously were? Because you don't, I suppose, pick up meditation, you don't lick it up off the floor. Where did you suppose come into contact with first, and how have you changed as an individual to turning into a person who started meditation, to doing meditation practices, and then starting, I suppose, your online business?
Well, when I trained up as a life coach, my coach, that was all part of her program, was for us to train up as a meditation teacher as well. And I was actually only sharing it today in the workshop. I do workshops with a girl, with a yoga teacher, and I was talking about it with the group, how I'll never forget when I first went to do, practice it, and we had to, obviously, your tone of voice, your pace, all this stuff to pass the different modules and stuff, and I was nervous, and I was in my parents' house, and I was upstairs doing it, and I was on Zoom call. And I said to my mother and father, I said, be quiet now, because, I have to, do all this, and it's very nerve-wracking. Like, so it was my time anyway to do my little piece that I made up in my head, and I was going to do my pace, and it was all going great. Next thing I heard my father downstairs, and he's like, "How are you, Jimmy?" And I was like, he broke my groove. Like, I was sitting, and I was like, I was just totally thrown off keel. But I never forget thinking, I remember at the time thinking, I'm never going to get meditation. I won't understand it. I won't ever be able to meditate. I won't ever be able to reproduce it. And now, so obviously I didn't go from there to now, right? So obviously, as you say, you don't lick it up off stone. It's a consistent commitment. So once I started to discover what I liked from meditation, like I liked the guided practices, like I listened to a lot of David J.I. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Haven't come across him just yet, no. I look him up.
Highly recommend him. David J.I. Yeah, he's on Insight Timer. Love his guided practices. I would work very similar to his work, because I just love guiding somebody through, to bringing them to a safe space that they can, their whole nervous system is, slowing down, their mind is slowing down, their body is connecting to them. So then like that, like I found finding what I liked to listen to, allocating a time that I like to do it. So I like to meditate first thing in the morning. At the beginning, I was doing nighttime, but I was just finding I was getting a lot more from it, beginning my day with it, because they say, what did they say? The first 30 minutes a day sets the trajectory of your day. I think that's what they say.
Sounds pretty good.
I'm like, am I saying it right? But so I do find when I start my day with that, either loving kindness or, giving myself a space to ground, to connect, I feel like I'm ready to take on the day then, But like I say, it's consistent commitment. It's showing up for yourself in a daily practice.
Making time for you is so important. As we touched on, there are
Oh,
24 hours in a day. You have to make priority. The quote that comes to mind is, you own the morning, you own the day, and whatever you want to achieve. You have to, with your fitness and your health, make that something that you have to do consistently, whether it's the meditation, whether it's the healthy food choices you struggle with, or I suppose it's training. You factor in those things into your day to be the healthiest version of yourself, because if you say you don't have time, you won't have time. The person who says they can and the person who says they can't are both right. The thing is, what you determine is the right answer for you is most certainly what you'll get.
100%. It's actually, that was our theme of our workshop today, was rest, rejuvenate, return. And it was all about like true journal. Like there was a yoga practice, there was yoga nidra, there was a beautiful like a ceremonial candle gazing and stuff. And then my part was like around boundaries and around, filling up your cup and like that affirmations and the whole lot. And it was just about realizing, okay, actually this is what supports me. And I'd say a lot of that to people, inquiring and stuff like that. I'd say, sit with yourself, get a pen and paper out and ask yourself, what do I need to support myself? Like that, is it meditation? Have I tried meditation? Is it exercise? What do I think is going to give me, the best, like who's going to support me in my well-being?
I suppose with meditation, you touched on, I suppose, journaling. And I'd be a firm believer in writing things down and getting clear on your goals. What, I suppose, are the stages or even the points that you go through with people? Do you have, I suppose, 6-week goals that you get people to write down, 1 year, 5-year, 10-year goals? And how do you work it with people that you mentor or coach?
Well, what I like to do is, I remember when I first started journaling, I was like, I preferred journal prompts. So I kind of, like, sometimes I do a little bit of a brain dump, like if I'm having a heavy day and I feel like my mind is a little bit kind of addled and I need to kind of release, so I might just kind of literally brain dump, just get it out from my mind and onto pen and paper. But a lot of the time I'd say to people, even just simple questions, like when you get up in the morning, or like into your day, how am I feeling, and if you're feeling maybe a little anxious in yourself, where am I feeling it in the body? And you might pinpoint it to your stomach might be a bit nervy, or your chest might feel a bit tight. See, it's acknowledging these things as well and saying to yourself, okay, where is this coming from? And it could be something, I'm just making this up now, it could be something like, you might have a meeting in work today that you to do a presentation and you're very anxious about it, Okay, I can see where that's coming from. What can I do in this present moment now to support myself? And that could be meditation. It could be getting out for a walk. It's like, that's the beautiful thing about journaling and self-inquiry. It's identifying.
Yeah, no, that's point. You have to, I suppose, point out where the areas that you're struggling and how to improve on them. Because if you're not clear on where you are, you can't be clear on where you want to go.
Yes. Yeah. No, you said it. Yeah, because I'm laughing because you swear, I'm like, I only have to create in a little journal as well. So I did something recently.
Is that on your website and people can look out and check it out? It is on your website at the minute.
This is not a salesy thing, because it's actually funny. We're just talking about the affirmations and the cards. But yeah, no, I created a little journal because like that, like from speaking to clients and from my own personal experience, the journal prompts were handy. Like, it's literally 4 months of journaling. It's the same questions for 4 months, because I think the repetition is great because it actually brings you into the here and now. And even what you mentioned earlier about the gratitudes, there's just even 3 lines to write what you're grateful for that day. So like, it's just connection. It's lovely. Yeah.
Well, no, that's brilliant. The whole idea of that point we're mentioning there is the fact that people that I come into contact with, it's not that they don't know the foods to choose. It's not that they don't know the exercises to do. It's just that they need an impromptu or a push, or of course lined up in a format for them to follow in an easy and straightforward A to Z kind of guide, from doing the exercises, eating these types of foods, and making it fit their day.
Yeah, 100%, exactly. And like that's it. It's when we scale it all back, isn't it? Like, and it's bringing it into the here and now, and it's saying, okay, what can I do now from, that's going to support me? Not thinking way ahead into the future. It's just the very first step in the now, like that, saying to get out for a bit of nature, just writing down what's on your mind, what you're feeling, or any even creative ideas that you have. Because a lot of time we hold ourselves back on something, we're like, oh, I'd love to try that, but no, that's not me, or what will people think, and it's actually just stepping out of your own way sometimes and saying, heck it, I'll write it down, we'll see what comes up,
I suppose, what's the idea that don't leave the enemy between your 2 ears, be your be someone that puts you down every day. Do you know what I mean? Be your own best friend. Tell yourself positive things.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Cheer yourself on, because when we cheer ourselves on, we thrive, you know?
Certainly that. I suppose, right, for people that haven't ever done meditation before, I'd love you to even give, as your dog comes in and gives you a lovely kiss.
Licking the face off me. He loves love. He loves love. All right, back up.
Absolutely love that. But if you were to give people, I suppose, who haven't done any meditation before, 3 pointers of, I suppose, where to come from ground zero to, I suppose, something that you'd like them to improve on their meditation skills.
Okay, 3 points. Okay. First of all, I think, finding what you'd like, which one you'd like. So even just listening to different ones and saying to yourself, okay, would I like a guided practice? Would I much prefer actually just to begin with a little bit of soft music, like meditative music? So it's finding which one you'd like to even try, because there's so many out there, even on YouTube and stuff like that, it's just kind of getting a feel for it. And then saying to yourself, even writing down, would the practice be better for me to try in the morning or the evening time, and saying, okay, I'm going to set aside 10 minutes or 5 minutes for myself to begin with, because I always say start small, and literally say at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, I am going to go down into my spare room, close the blinds, dim the lights, and set up a little mat for myself, light a candle, and meditate for those 5 minutes, And if it is a case that you're like, I can't do it, pause, take a breath in and out of your body, feel the floor beneath you, feel the chair beneath you, whatever's supporting you, feel your feet on the ground, and just say, okay, I'm just going to bring myself back to the breath, or bring myself back to the voice that's guiding me. And always just bring yourself back. Just be like, okay, just bring myself back. Don't beat yourself up. Don't be hard on yourself, because more compassion, more grace. I'm all about that.
Was that amalgamation of 3, or was that number 1? I'm not really sure what way you went with that.
I think that was 3. I think I just lost.
That was okay. I'll break them down into bullet points for people. I suppose even breaking it down just there, it was, I suppose, finding out what suits you, whether it's a guided meditation. Next one is finding a space that is suitable to you, whether you're doing it in the morning or the evening. And following that, I suppose, make it fit your routine would be the 3 rough ones there that we can patch together for people who are starting off on their meditation journey.
Thanks for breaking it down. I think I just went into a little bit of a tangent.
No problem. That's my job. It just made it a little bit harder than normal, but I did it. That's what it's called, teamwork. No, teamwork.
Teamwork is dreamwork. Yeah.
Teamwork is dreamwork. And I suppose even before I leave you go, I just want you to, I suppose, tell the listeners where's the best place for them to contact you if they want to either reach out to you and do either a guided meditation or sign up to one of your programs, or check out your website where you have that guided journal for them to check out. And especially coming up to Christmas, it could be a really great present for somebody going into 2022. Going to be definitely a happier and healthier year than we had in 2021.
100%. Thank you. Yeah, no, so if anyone wants to check out my guided meditations, as I say, I have loads of them on the IGTV on my Instagram. So it's soul__purpose__ to make life hard for ourselves. And my website is only after being launched since actually it's a week launch today. So it's soul-purpose.ie. I'm very proud, because like that now, like the beginning of anyone's journey, when you have an idea in your mind and seeing it come into fruition, very proud day. So yeah, I link up with me, drop me a message. I'd be only happy to speak with you any shape or form.
It's brilliant, and I'll be tagging all those in the show notes and be putting it in on the posts that I put up anyway. I'll be tagging you later on this evening on Instagram too. Right, and I always say, no, thanks for a minute. It was great. And even before this, we didn't even touch on it at all. The grounding was amazing how you threw that in there. But the fact is, you're doing a little bit of your growing your own. I'll be talking to you about that directly after this as well. She's doing carrots. I love carrots. Beta carotene.
I know.
Skin health. Naturally, want to make you better looking. Winning on a Friday or Thursday. This comes out on a Thursday. So I always I'll tell you a time in advance. So I'll always end these shows by saying, stay tuned, stay classy, and keep it organic.